तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste, my dear friends. In this video, I am going to describe and explain the most important phenomenon happening in the life of every human being. That is the discovering the Atman. The foremost aim of taking human life is to know the real self of every being. Atam Sakshatkar, that is direct awareness or self-realization. In spiritual philosophy, particularly within Advaita Vedanta and the teachings of sages like Ramana Maharshi, Ramkrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Vivekananda and Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, the concept of Atam Sakshatkara, often referred to as Atam Sakshat or direct awareness, refers to the immediate non-intellectual realization of one's true self. Let us know its core meaning. Atma, self, the eternal, unchanging essence of a being, often equated with pure consciousness or I amness. Sakshat, direct, immediate, something that is perceived directly without any intervening medium such as the senses or the mind. Sakshatkara, realization, the actual experience or becoming of that truth. It is not a new piece of information but an awakening to what always was. Key principles of direct awareness. Non-duality. There are not two entities, one who knows and one who is known. To know the Atma is to be the Atma. Self-luminosity. Just as you do not need a candle to see the sun, the self is self-shining. It is the awareness that allows all other thoughts and perceptions to be known. Beyond the mind, intellectual understanding is a function of the mind, but direct awareness transcends the mind. It is described as a split-second realization where the ego identity dissolves. The direct path method. Many modern teachers and traditional texts advocate for the direct path as opposed to progressive paths to reach this state. 1. Self-enquiry, Atam Vichara, constantly asking, who am I, to trace the source of the I thought back to its origin in pure awareness. 2. Negation, neti, neti, systematically realizing I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the emotions until only the witness remains. 3. Abundance. Once the source is found, simply remaining still and being as you are rather than trying to achieve or do something. Benefits of Atam Sakshatkara: freedom, moksha, liberation from the cycle of spring and the fear of death as one realizes their immortal nature. Inner peace, ananda, a state of permanent bliss that does not depend upon external circumstances. Unity, the perception of a single, all pervading consciousness is all living beings. What obstacles prevent people from realize Atam Sakshat? Realizing Atam Sakshat, self-realization is often described as removing the ash of ignorance that covers the light within you. The following primary obstacles typically prevent people from achieving this direct awareness. 1. The ego and identification with the body mind. The separate self illusion. The mind erroneously believes it is a separate autonomous entity. This egoic identity is built through a continuous stream of thoughts and memories. Body identification. One of the strongest bondages is the deep-seated belief I am the body or I am happy, unhappy. Sense of ownership, attachment to notions of me and mine, such as my home, my family, or my intellect, prevents finding the self which lies beyond personal ownership. 2. Mental agitation and cravings, restlessness, vikshepa, a mind that is constantly moving and unable to focus, lacking ekagrata, cannot perceive the steady light of the Atma. Constant chattering, the non-stop chatter of thoughts creates erroneous stories that block awakening. Desires and vasanas, intense cravings for wealth, property, name and fame act as heavy stumbling blocks. Sages suggest that as long as you are chasing external dreams or material success, you have no incentive to wake up. 3. Delusion and wrong perception, Maya, Mithya Drishti, taking the transient world of the senses to be the ultimate reality rather than a temporary image or illusion. Extroversion, Bahisprajana, being too focused on the external world makes it impossible to turn the mind inward to recognize the self. Preconceived notions. Many seekers are blocked by their own ideas of what enlightenment should look like, often gleaned from books or others' experiences rather than seeking the truth directly. 4. Psychological and spiritual hindrances. Doubt, samasya, samasya, doubt in oneself, the path, or the divine can completely paralyze spiritual progress. Attachment and aversion, rag dvesha, the constant mission to get what we want and push away what we dislike is an exhausting cycle that prevents equanimity. Lack of faith or sincerity, approaching spiritual study intellectually without devotion, bhakti, faith or humility often leads to a spiritual ego but no real realization. Laziness and inertia, physical sickness, mental lethargy, and a general lack of discipline prevent the rigorous training of the mind necessary for realization. 5. Spiritual distractions, chasing powers, siddhis, seeking special experiences, opening chakras, or attaining special powers are often just new masks for the ego and distract from the simple realization of the self. Memory, says Raman Maharshi, noted that holding on to imaginative memories of the past sustains a personal identity that prevents realization. For what daily practice sport Atam Shakshat, for realizing Atam Sakshat, direct awareness, focus on shifting your identification from the changing body and mind to the unchanging self. These practices involve both dedicated formal meditation and an ongoing inward orientation throughout daily life. Core contemplative practices, self-inquiry, Atam Vichara. This is the primary direct path practice advocated by sages like Raman Maharshi. It involves tracing every thought back to its source by asking to whom do these thoughts arise, and then following the answer to me with the deeper question, who am I? Abiding in the I am. Focus continuously on the fundamental sense of existence, the feeling of I am, before it is attached to any labels like I am a teacher or I am tired. Nididhyasana, deep meditation. After hearing and reflecting on spiritual truths, this final stage involves profound repeated meditation on the self until the realization becomes stable. Integrating awareness into daily life, constant introversion. Instead of being entirely focused on external objects, practice keeping a portion of your awareness turned inward towards the witness of your actions, witnessing perceptions. Intuit the invisible light that illuminates all your perceptions, such as seeing, hearing, or thinking. Realize that while experiences change, the awareness in which they appear remains constant. Mindfulness and detachment. Observe thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. When a worry arises, look for the worrier. If you cannot find a separate entity doing the worrying, peace naturally remains. Preparatory and sportive habits. Purification, sadhana, practices like japa, repetition of a divine name, and pranayama, breath control, help calm the mind and clear away mental distractions, vasanas, making it easier for the self to shine through. Developing virtues, cultivate patience, tolerance, and unconditional love, treating others as you own yourself. Sarvatma Buddhi helps dissolve the ego's sense of separation. Sarvana and Manana. Dedicate time daily to Sarvana, listening to or reading spiritual teachings, and Manana, reflecting deeply on those teachings to remove the intellectual doubts. Shama and Dama. Practice Sham, control of the mind, and Dama, restraint of the senses to prevent the mind from constantly running after external pleasures. There is no penance equal to peace. There is no happiness greater than contentment. There is no worse disease than desire. There is no righteousness equal to compassion. Embodiments of love, no penance can be equal to peace. Real penance consists in nor leading the life of an ascetic in a forest, but in worshipping God in thought, word, and deed. Where is the need for any penance to acquire peace if that peace is already present in the heart? Peace can be got when one's vision is turned inward. Na santosh param sukham. There is no happiness greater than contentment. How many miserable people are there in the world who have all the comforts they need? Dhritarashtra had all regal comforts and had 100 sons but could find no peace. Creatures Creature comforts cannot be equated with peace. Contentment, it is said, confers the greatest happiness. It follows that true happiness resides in the heart and every one should seek it there. Excessive desires are the source of all ills. There is momentary satisfaction from the fulfillment of some desires, but when desires are not realized, man becomes sick in many ways. There is no more dreadful disease in the world than insatiable desire. Na cha dharmo dhaya smaha. There is no right conduct equal to compassion for the simple reason that a compassionate heart is the abode of the divine. Where there is compassion, there is no need for other acts of charity. Awareness is pure and unsullied consciousness. The Indian sages from ancient times have given the highest place of honor and esteem to the word Atma. This is also known as Eruka, awareness or consciousness. This awareness finds expression in the term Ahem, I. When this Ahem identifies itself with a bodily form, it becomes ahankara, the ego. This ego is not the natural state of aham. It is by relating itself to a particular form that it becomes ahankara. It is pure and unsullied consciousness. It is the mind that comes in the way of the proper understanding of aham, just as the clouds that arise out of the vapors produced by the sun may hide the sun for a time. The mind veils the aham by its thoughts and desires. Though the mind arises from the Atma, the role of the mind in relation to the Atmic principle has to be properly understood. It separates as an obstacle to the awareness of the Atma. The term I, Nenu in Telugu originated in the Atma. The I is the form of Aham. Terms like Aham, God, awareness, and Atma are all synonymous. When the Atma, I, is rightly understood, one becomes an Atam Jnani, knower of the self. There is a fundamental principle to which the I is related. The I has no basis in the body. It has to recognize its link with its primary source. The Atmic principle is one and one only. Every object in the world has its origin in a primary source. This cannot be created by anyone. There is a primordial source which is responsible for all creation. Very few care to inquire into the nature of this source. From the worldly point of view, we have a karta, doer, the karma, duty, and the kriya, deed. But from the spiritual point of view, all three are one and the same. The doer, the duty, and the deed. This Atmic principle is one and only one. It is said that Sat, Chit, Ananda, being, awareness, bliss are the attributes of the Atma self. In my view, these three are not three distinct entities. They are not three different states. Chit, awareness, and Anand, bliss are present in Sat like sugar which is dissolved in water and becomes one with it as syrup. There is an illustration which explains why it is difficult to recognize the Atmic principle. There is a cup containing fruit juice. The cup is not aware of the nature of the juice. A man uses a straw to suck the juice. The straw does not know anything about the juice. The buddhi recognizes the taste of the juice. It does not enjoy it. The juice is sent down to the stomach where it gets converted to three parts: the gross which is excreted, the subtle which becomes blood and helps to sustain life, and the subtler goes to the prajna shakti, constant integrated awareness, which is synonymous with the self. In this analogy, the cup is the body, the straw represents the senses, prajna is the atma, prajna awareness, the I, atma, ananda, brahma, Brahman are all synonymous terms. Worldly person may see differences in these words, but in spiritual parlance they mean the same thing. Two kinds of I, attached and detached. The ahem I is of two kinds. One that is associated with attachment to the body, and the other that disassociates it from the body. Both are I, name in Telugu, but the I that is identified with the body becomes Ahankara, the ego. The ego carries a form wherever it goes, but the formless I, not identified with the body, is the Atma. The formless Atma has no attributes, but when it is associated with a form, it has all attributes. Today people experience only the ahem, I, that is identified with the body. They cannot conceive of an I without a body. But by treating the body as the basis, if the vision is turned inward, the Atma can be experienced in due course. This is called Atam Sakshatkara, direct perception of the self. This means tracking the I to its source. A man walking with his back to the sun will be treading his own shadow. Only when he reverses his direction will he be able to leave his shadow behind. The same process applies to the realization of the self. The journey must be directed towards the self within and away from the external world. What is needed today in the world is the diverting of the mind from preoccupation with the external world of nature to the divine within. This is the sadhana you have to do. In this way, you see the divine in everything instead of seeing nature as a physical phenomenon. When you see the external world as a manifestation of God, you will not notice the phenomenal aspect of Prakriti nature. View nature as a manifestation of God. How is this to be experienced in real life with its joys and sorrows? This can be understood from an example. When you sleep, you have dreams in which you experience joys and sorrows. They seem real as long as you are in sleep. One on awaking, you realize that they were all unreal and mere dreams. In the waking state, you have other experiences. What is the relationship between these two categories of experiences? When you experience in the waking stage is also a dream. The reality is that in both the states, the sleeping and the waking, you are present as the dreamer. The concept of Atmic principle. The difference between a dream in sleep and what happens in the waking state relates mainly to the time factor. In a dream, in a sleep, a person may go through the entire experiences of his life from childhood to old age in a few minutes. The dream compresses the experiences of many years within so many minutes. Likewise, likewise, what happens over many years in the waking state may appear as a few moments in spiritual experience. Our conception of reality is related to the time factor. Time causes great difference between what is pratyaksham, directly perceived, and what is proksham, indirectly experienced. The Atma is the unchanging entity that is able to recognize the changes brought about by time. The awareness of the unchanging reality underlying the phenomenal world of change is the Atmic principle called Eruka. It is present in everyone as the Aham, but each one views the world from one's particular circumstance, background, and experience. The Atmic principle is explained or described in different ways. There is no connection between its reality and the way it is experienced. The analogies used for explaining the Atmic principle have their inherent limitations. God is declared to be omnipresent. How do you decide this omnipresence? There is a practical means of deciding this. We are aware of the basic elements earth, water, fire, air, and space with five qualities: smell, fluidity, illumination, touch, and sound. The earth has all the five qualities, including primarily gandha, smell. Water has rasa, fluidity. It is lighter than earth and is mobile. It has four qualities. Fire has three qualities, of which rupa, form, is most prominent. It is lighter than water. Then you have air, which is lighter than fire and has two qualities: sparsh, touch, and shabd, vibrant movement. Just last comes akasha, ether or space, which is the stillest of the five elements and is all pervading. Transcending space is God, who is omnipresent. Spiritual progress is related to reduction of desires. When you pursue your inquiry in this manner, you find that the different qualities account for feelings and reactions. These qualities have to be brought under control. Simultaneously, one has to reduce the burdens of mundane existence and the desires that fill the mind. Man today is weighed down by the overwhelming burden of desires. Spiritual progress is directly related to the reduction of desires. God's grace goes with human effort. Earlier, two teachers spoke about their experiences and extolled Deva Shakti, power of the divine. But this divine power does not operate independent of human effort. In fact, every individual has this divine power. They are invoking divine power as an auxiliary to their own power, which comes from the divine. Failing to recognize their inherent divine power, they attribute it to someone other than themselves. Some devotees tend to blame Baba and tend to blame Baba if their desires are not fulfilled. When devotees pray with pure hearts, their purity itself helps to bring them relief, but they are thankful to Baba for saving them. Baba is not involved in either of these results. They are the fruits of the devotees' efforts and attitudes. In our college, there is a placard that carried the saying, Dharma protect its protector. It destroys its destroyer. Likewise, when your faith in the divine is total, that faith will help you develop that confidence in the self. The self is not visible even as the foundations of a big mansion are not visible. But without the foundations, the edifice cannot stand. Likewise, self-confidence is the base for all satisfaction. The roof of mansion is self-sacrifice. Then you have self-realization. The self alone is eternal and changeless. Man must develop strong faith that will confer all spiritual experiences. The Upanishads declare, arise from the slumber of ignorance and go forward towards awareness of the self. Embodiments of love Whatever other beliefs you may cherish or not have from faith in God, all things in the world are liable to perish. The self alone is eternal and changeless. It is unfortunate that the vast majority of mankind lead mundane lies, forgetting God. Make God the foundation of your life. Carry on your normal duties. Duty is God, work is worship. Spiritualize all your actions and treat whatever happens as actions for your good. Learn to experience perennial bliss by seeking union with God. Never forget God. Do not go after the things of the world. Have no fear of death. When your life is rooted in these three maxims, you will realize the Atman. So this is a wonderful preaching by Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Please watch this video again and again and share with your friends, because Baba's teachings are direct teachings and they are based on Vedic Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba has taught the world to realize the realities and not run after the materialistic things. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar, my dear friends. Thank you. I will make video on the same topic in Hindi also. So whichever way you want to benefit, watch English version or the Hindi version. Thank you. Namaste. Namaskar.